Lots of stuff going on. No, MAG was really built around kind of 3 pillars of gameplay. These are the litmus test, the razor we use to decide what gets in and what gets out. The first is, of course, scale, believe it or not. 256 players. We wanted to kind of break new ground technology-wise and also try to create some gameplay experiences that you just can't do with lower numbers of players.
Let me ask you before you go any further.
Yeah.
Like, am I crazy? Like, I've been thinking about it. Like, all right, so Quake, no. Like, like that. Every game that I go through my head that I've played online, multiplayer, PC, or anything, have I ever actually played a game that was like this, first-person shooter style? I get PlanetSide maybe, right? PlanetSide. Anything else?
I think as far as like just going for a pure first-person shooter experience, but on steroids, I think MAG's it. Yeah.
250. I'm sorry. Continue then.
Yeah, no worries. So scale. That's number 1. Number 2 is command. You got 256 people running around on the battlefield. First question everybody asks, you look at the boards, you can see it too, is it going to be chaos? Is it going to be everybody's going to be running around? So we knew it was going to be really important for us to build a structure into the game that wasn't rigid and kind of constricting, but like a carrot system where we're rewarding players for working as a team. So that whole command system is something we built into the game. It also lets you grow into bigger and bigger roles and take what's it like to lead 128 guys. So, and then the third pillar, of course, was persistence. We wanted it to be, since it's multiplayer only, not just something you jump into, play for 5 minutes, and forget about. We want you to be checking the status of the server when you're at work and cutting out early to come home and play. So we got this persistent element that's your growth as a soldier, but also when you join the game, you choose one of the 3 private armies, Raven, Sever, or Valor. And you fight for them. So every battle you win or lose, it affects your faction's standing in the overall battle.
What about your personal? Like, you obviously have character development in your structure, like rate leveling and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, so as you play through the game, you gain new skills, and you can choose. It's a pretty robust skill tree, a little bit more so than we've seen in a lot of other shooters, because we want that persistent element. You can choose over time to train to be the best sniper in the world who also is great at defusing bombs, or you can be a guy that's a rocket launcher character, but is also a really good medic. So we wanted to give players a lot of freedom in how they created their characters instead of kind of the traditional class system you see in a lot of other games.
Now, like, there was 1 or 2 games I could think of that had tried to do nothing by any means on this scale, but tried to have like a really good collective effort of like people doing different roles, specific roles. Global Ops is one game that comes to mind. There was like this view you had of this map that you look down on. There was somebody that was a commander. Is there somebody on each side that is trying to help like dictate how this battle is going?
Yeah, there is. And it all depends on the size of the battle you're in. In the small scale battles, it's really about the squad leaders and the platoon leader. When you're on a scale like this, when you're on the 256 player battles, you've got an officer in charge, 2 of those, 1 on each side, and they're coordinating. They have communication tools to talk to their platoon leaders, 4 platoon leaders below an OIC, and then each platoon has 4 squad leaders. Just like the real military, by kind of disseminating that information through a chain of command, it makes it all much more digestible.
Now, and like, how does it work, like, in terms of 256, so I guess that when you break it down, right, how does that work in terms of numbers? When you get, like, the sides divided, like, I'm good at math, but, like, how does that work?
It starts with the soldier. That's the lowest, the lowest unit on the field is 1 guy. That's you. So then you have 7 other members in your squad, so a squad of 8. And there are 4 squads in each platoon, and then 4 platoons in an entire company on the whole side. So it's very, reminiscent to traditional military that everybody around the world uses because it works.
Sure.
So.
Tons of weapons in the game, tons of vehicles, tons of locations. Please.
Yes, we actually have. We didn't shoot to have the most maps in the game. We shot to have the biggest and the most flexible. So our maps are broken down into obviously different platoon areas. Like in this battle, you've got a central hub. This is a Sever base. It's one of our factions. The center of that map is the objective. It's a fuel refinery that you're trying to attack and blow up. You got 4 platoons. CJ's got the CNI here. 4 platoons are all coming in from different directions, the 4 points of the wind, and are going to meet up at the center for a final assault on that objective. So think about it. If you've got 64 players in each of those areas, if you're in a different squad, you're taking on a different attack in each of those areas. So you've kind of got 4 maps at least in this one large-scale map. And then based on whether you're attacking or defending, the game's very different too. All the attackers come in with mobile assets, helicopters, airborne strike vehicles, and the defenders all have fixed emplacements like mortar batteries and sensor networks, kind of stuff that's embedded into the world. So if you're defending, you're going to bring a different loadout to the battle, you're going to have different tactics, different strategies, and have a really different experience. So lots and lots of replayability. And then On top of that, I can't stop going here. On top of that, you got commanders, and based on whether my squad leader says, right, everybody's going to work up the left flank this time, or the right, or right at the center, that right there is 3 different gameplay experiences, so lots of flexibility.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable. Like, I feel like with everything that you've told me and everything that I'm seeing right now, I've still only seen like a fraction of everything that there is.
You have.
One question I definitely have is, like, what about environmental damage? Everybody's descending on this building and they're going to blow it up or whatever. Yep. Number one, am I going to see that graphically, you know, that structure, am I going to see it get wiped out, blown up? And then two, is that like also represented on the map as being like destroyed or demolished?
It is. So we talked about early on, okay, we're going to go for fully destructible environments. And there's a lot of cool things about that, but it's also, there's some downsides as well as far as just communicating gameplay. In a game of this size, with this many players, we didn't want a new player to come in and go, ah, shoot, what do I blow up? Right. You know, what does it mean? So everything that we have in our environment, there's a lot of it that can be destroyed or repaired, or all gameplay objectives. So CJ, if you can find, you know, a motor pool or a sensor or something like that. So he's moving forward here towards one of the destructible objects in the environment, which is a sensor network. Now, if he's able to plant a charge at the base of this, defend that for 30 seconds while the defenders are trying to defuse it, it'll blow up. And what that means is now he's shut down this platoon's sensor networks. Enemy commanders can no longer trigger a sensor sweep to reveal his position. So everything in the battle has meaning. Like if you've watched all the World War II movies in the last 10 years, storming Normandy Beach, the first thing you have to do is break through the lines. You know, you want to get your demolition charges, blow up the, the Constantina wire or something like that. Then you got to take out the bunker, and then you got to get through the tank traps. Those are all very discrete objectives within our game that are destroyable and repairable from the defender's point of view.
It sounds like you have thought long and hard about this, my friend.
Yeah, you have. It's fun, though.
I got a billion questions coming in from our audience. You mind if I throw some your way?
Oh, shoot.
All right, let's see here. Kaylan in Ireland. Having over 250 players in one area seems like it would cause a lot of lag. What are you trying to do to reduce or remove this lag?
So there are a couple of things. Obviously you're watching the game, you can see it's pretty smooth running. There's been a lot of work from the beginning of this game. That was going to be a pillar, was 256. So we have a really strong networking team. Our server teams are great. And they built, first and foremost, the network technology and the server sets to support this game before we even could fire a weapon. And so they've done a lot of work on the network side to make sure that the information you're getting as a player is the stuff that's relevant to what's going on around you. So, if the 256 guy away from you that's shooting is not nearly as important as the guy right next to you. So you're going to get the most updates for the guy sitting right next to you. So
it probably works the same way with like the Bluetooth headset, right? You hear the guys that are near you, or can you hear pretty much anybody you designate?
Well, the way that the communications work is you automatically, whenever you join a game, are matched into a squad, even if you don't have any friends. We want to throw you in with somebody who can back you up. You're always able to communicate with that squad. And then as you go up the leadership levels, squad leaders can talk to all the squad leaders in their platoon. Platoon leaders can talk to all the platoon leaders and the company commanders. So again, just like a chain of command in the Army, your lowest guy on the ground who just started playing the game isn't going to hear 2nd platoon, 4th platoon, we need to coincide and go do this and do that. Too much information. So he's going to hear what the 8 guys around him are doing and what his objective is. And as he goes up in ranks, he'll start to, kind of peel back the layers of the onion and see the rest of what's going on.
That's super slick. It seems like it'd be a hard balance to strike to try to dump somebody into the game with everything already going, but to try to walk them along. But it sounds like you guys thought of a good way to do it.
Trying to do. I mean, again, everybody's asked, nobody's going to work as a team. Well, first of all, we're, all of our play tests, we're seeing people work into a team, even new guys to the game. But from the beginning, the goal was not to force people to work as a team. It was make it fun for one guy dropping in and just doing his own thing. And then, we've added lots of incentives and tools and carrots for players to, as they play, to realize working as a team is the way to go.
This is a good question. Cameron Napolitano out of Brockton wants to know who exactly you play with, CJ? Who are you playing with?
From back up at Zipper right now. Yeah. And then along with the FBQA guys in Foster City.
I also have, I think they'll let me throw a couple more questions at you before we go. Is there anything, before I get the last questions, is there anything that we haven't covered that we definitely should?
No, I think we hit the big points. It's a lot of fun.
Robert Macias out of Colorado Springs, based on the idea of having 3 factions and a player's ability to choose one of them, are there advantages or disadvantages